It's those 4 a.m. cardio and strength training workouts along with the self-defense that you do every single morning before you come on the show. David, it's just hats off.
Well, thank you. Yeah, a lot of jujitsu at like 5 a.m. And then I'm on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina.
Impressive.
All right. So, we have Judge Juan Merchan, who has already ruled that Trump's not going to face any jail time. So you really have to wonder why bother with the sentencing here. For more, let's bring in GOP strategist and chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party in Texas, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, good to see you. So the Supreme Court majority said the sentencing would be inconsequential as it relates to Trump governing. So my read is that if the sentence today was going to be consequential, like jail time, they would have stepped in. I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous on its face.
Yeah, it is, and it's great to be here. I feel like a slacker after learning what you do in the mornings. But so let me try and make up for it with some
Bobby,
information.
I made that up. It was entirely entertainment.
Oh, okay,
TV
well, good.
only.
I feel better.
No,
now.
I don't do any jujitsu.
No, but you nailed it right there. It's like this ruling from the Supreme Court, this 5-4, was almost it's pushed by Merchan's comments. So you wonder. What he put in writing is not really binding. He could come up today and say, oh, you know what? We are going to fine you. We are going to have jail time. I seriously doubt he's going to do that because of what the Supreme Court said. But yeah, they said there's no harm in doing this sentencing to President Trump's ability to appeal or to do his job. But the thing is that what the left is doing and what Merchan is doing, embodying this whole leftist agenda, is labeling him, tarring him as this convicted felon, and you can't have the conviction until you have the sentencing. And that's why they keep going through this. I hope somehow, even as he's president, that the appeal will just shut this whole thing down, because it's such a bogus case, as you alluded to. But really disappointing what the Supreme Court said yesterday, because if they're going to take his actions as part of their judgment, then you also have to look at the political fallout, too. And that's what the left is all about. They want to label him as a convicted felon. It's pretty obvious. They really should have shut this down.
Bobby, switching gears to these horrific California wildfires. Did you catch CNN Anderson Cooper's interview with Governor Gavin Newsom talking about the fire hydrants running out of water? Listen to this and I'd like your reaction.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
But why? Bobby, a lot of us have been talking about this for a decade. They knew this was coming. Why are these hydrants only capable of 2 or 3 fires? That's ridiculous when you live in California and you keep the water away from your people.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like he pulled out his little card that says, okay, on this one, we passed the buck. And that's what he's doing right there. It's like they will blame everybody else except for their ideology and their policies. And, you know, the voters, it's one of the things, this is very tragic. And some of these interviews have just been heartbreaking. One of the things that is uplifting a little bit, though, is to seeing people wake up. We saw this during the election cycle, waking up in general. But if these residents can finally just put the blame on these elected officials, these Democrats who do nothing, maybe they'll actually have some change, because in the meantime, they are driven by environmental lobbyists or any of these far left groups. That's who they're beholden to, these elected officials, Bass, Newsom, and on and on and on. They don't act. They don't put the citizens' needs first. And that's the fundamental reason you have government. And they just keep failing, and they always try to pass the buck. The press conference yesterday was, oh, we'll get to evaluations or finger pointing later. But, hey, this is the time when you have to say, why did this fail and why weren't you prepared?
Yeah, well, there are so many reasons it failed, and it's
Absolutely.
because, and they're all political. Has nothing to do with this just happening. Right. This is not a natural occurrence. This has nothing to do with climate change or whatever their latest word is. This is political and planned. Bobby Eberle, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.